Hi everyone, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap, and this is the Ever After Special Edition Page Kit Workshop. I thought it would be fun to make these beautiful layouts together. I've got my instructions printed, my entire kit, of course my favorite Fiskars guillotine style trimmer, which we carry here at Club Scrap. If you don't have one, you need this trimmer. And then I'm also using my accordion pocket file that helps us stay organized. So all of the pieces that we trim for all 8 layouts will go into these pockets, one pocket for each double page spread. We'll do all of our trimming at once and then dry fit our layouts together. So by the time we're done with this video, you'll have everything ready to go, where all you would need to do is just adhere down the pieces, add your photos and your memories. So I'm going to set aside all of the goodies, these cute little wood cuts and the ribbon, as well as these adorable self-adhesive pearl stickers, and then these really cool leafy stickers here. So I'll set that aside, and now all I'm left with is a whole big pile of papers. I think it's 18 sheets of absolutely stunning paper. 2 of them are 80-pound or 100-pound cover weight papers. Actually 4 of 6 of them. Anyway, it's a gorgeous set of paper. What we typically do is put the paper in the order in which we'll trim it. So just hold it in the crook of your arm. That way you can view the paper from the top edge and sort it more easily. So start out by taking one sheet of this absolutely stunning felt finish, a sea green colored paper, and then closer to the top of the stack you should find one of this beautiful print that has the script on it. So we're just calling that the script print. I'm going to put that face down on top of my trimmer base, right on top of that sea green. I'll just keep stacking right here. Then close to the top of the pile you should find this beautiful greenery print. Put that face down on the pile, and then I'm looking for a dark green. So this one is like almost like a pine color, and it has a gorgeous linen finish. And go ahead and find the other dark green as well. So we will trim both of those during the trimming process. Next we'll find the manila color. So that's like a really kind of like almost a yellow tone. So that's manila. And then craft. That gives it that rustic wedding popularity there. Also another craft. So both of the craft pieces. And then toward the back of the stack, we'll grab the cut apart that says the story of our lifetime together. Put that face down, and the other cut apart that says this is us on it. So that'll go face down. We'll grab 2 of the white planes. Now there's a white and an ivory, so just make sure you grab the white. Then the other script print, which will be face down then on the pile, and then the remaining sea green, the remaining manila, and the final greenery print. And then we'll end with our 2 remaining ivory. So you can see the difference between the white and the ivory. Okay, so that's the paper in the order we'll be dealing with it. All right, so I'm going to flip right back on over to the top, where that sea green is the first piece we'll trim, and I'm giving you the easiest paper of all to trim. So this should be nice and simple, even if you're newer to this whole process. So just as a quick review, in case you're new to this trimmer, make sure the paper is resting along that top edge so that the paper is level with the blade. And then find 6 inches. The most common mistake is that people look at the centimeters rather than the inches. So just be sure to find the whole number 6. Stabilize on the clear bar before every single cut that you make. That holds that paper in place. Then if you'd like, you can go ahead and stack the 2 6x12s you just created and put both of them into the trimmer nice and neat, and cut at 8 and 4. Those are really heavyweight papers, so if you feel uncomfortable with that much in your trimmer at once, just go ahead and do 1 sheet at a time. Now take 3 of those 4x6s we just made and put them in pocket 3 and 4. Or if you don't have the accordion pocket file, just have 4 designated piles, 1 for each double page spread. And then the remaining 3 will go in pocket 7 and 8. Next, pick up the script print, and we'll put it into the trimmer so that it's right side up. That means the text should be legible. And we'll cut at 6 1/4 and 3 1/4. So this skinniest piece, put it in pocket in 1 and 2, and I tend to put those papers in at an angle so that I can still see the numbers on the left side of my screen. Then you have this middle section, this is only 3 inches wide. That goes in pocket 5 and 6 at an angle. And then this really large scripty print, that goes in 1 and 2 as well. The next piece to trim is this beautiful greenery print. So if you have put everything in the pile in the right order, this should be next in the pile. And that's the nice part about pre-sorting. There's a really, really deep green corner of this print, and that should be in the upper right corner of the trimmer. It doesn't really matter which side is up as long as these pieces are running vertically. And we'll trim at 7 3/4 and 4. Okay, so this greenery piece and then the other one on the bottom of the stack. Both of the pieces with all that greenery on them, they both go in pocket 7 and 8. So we'll just file those together. And the remaining piece, put it in your trimmer horizontally. It doesn't matter which end is facing where. And we'll cut at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. And these 3 almost rectangles, I guess they are. No, they're squares. That would almost be a rectangle. 3 squares go in pocket 3 and 4. And we do, unfortunately, have a little bit of a scrap here. Okay, now, next is the stark green. Make sure you only take 1 sheet. We're trimming both of them, but they're trimmed differently. So we'll trim first at 11 1/4. So make sure you're way over here at 11 1/4. Then 10 1/2. Stabilize always. And 6 3/4. Now rotate, and we'll trim at 8 1/2. It's going to give us a pretty big piece, and that goes in pocket 1 and 2. And then you should have this rectangle left over. We'll cut horizontally at 6 1/2 and 3 1/4. It gives us 2 pieces the same size, and we'll file those in pocket 5 and 6. Now, if I'm going too fast, and I might very well be, especially if you're new to this, YouTube has a way to adjust the pacing of the video. So if you click on the gear setting, you can slow me down to like 0.75, and that'll chill everything out a little bit for you. Now, this next strip, this is 3 3/4 by 12. We'll cut just like we did before with that print. We're going to trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. That gives you 3 pieces. They are square and the same size, going into pocket 1 and 2. And that does leave yet another scrap. Oh boy. Now we have these 2 narrow strips. One goes in pocket 1 and 2, and the other in 5 and 6. Next, I'll take the second sheet of green, and we'll trim this one at 10 1/2. And 6 1/4. Rotate the 6 1/4 inch piece. We'll trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces that you just created are the same size. Those go in pocket 1 and 2, and the remaining piece 5 and 6. Now we have another strip. This is 4 1/4 by 12 right now. We'll trim at 9 1/2. And 6 1/4. This 6 1/4 inch piece, pocket 5 and 6. Then you have a rectangle, pocket 7 and 8. Then you have a smaller rectangle. This one we're actually going to trim horizontally at 4 and 2. That makes 2 pieces the same convenient size. That'll go in pocket 7 and 8. There is a small scrap. We can get rid of that. And then this large remaining strip, 7 and 8. Continuing on with the manila, we'll trim at 6 1/4. This is a real heavyweight paper. And then rotate that piece so it's horizontal, and we'll cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. 2 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. Now we're going to file those in pocket 3 and 4. And then you have this rectangle here. We'll trim it horizontally at 6 and 3. Now I could just cut this exactly in half so that we don't have this little scrap, but that would result in a trim of 3 1/8. just to cut that in half. And a lot of people don't really like those 3 1/8 measurements. So if you don't care, then you can avoid having the scrap by just cutting it at 3 1/8 instead of 6 3. All right, so one of these goes in pocket 1 and 2, and the other 5 and 6. Now you have this strip. This is 5 3/4 by 12 right now. And we'll trim at 8 1/4 and 4 1/2. Now rotate the 4 1/2 and cut at 3. Now, these are kind of weirdly sized pieces, but they have a real intent purpose, and I'm going to put them both in pocket 7 and 8. Next, you have 2 rectangles. Both of those also go in 7 and 8. And I'm moving on. If you've been trying to keep track on instructions, I've just moved on to page 3, and we'll grab the one of the craft planes that we have. They're both in the pile, so be careful. Only take one of them. And this first one we'll trim at 11 3/4, 10 3/4, 9 1/4, 7 1/4, and 4 1/4. Very nice. Now, this one rotate horizontally. We'll cut at 6. One of them goes in pocket 3 and 4, and the other 7 and 8. Pick up the next strip. This is 3 by 12, and we'll cut at 8 and 4. All right, one of these goes in pocket 3 and 4, and the other 2 pieces you just made 7 and 8. Now I'm going to pick up all the rest of the strips, and I kept them in the order that they landed. That's kind of a critical thing about this whole process, is if you can just keep the papers piling up, we're both going to be on the same page. So the next 2 strips, it's pretty wide, and then there's a 1 1/2 inch. They both go in pocket 3 and 4. And then this larger one of the remaining, 5 and 6. And then this little skinny guy, 7 and 8. Okay, moving on, the other craft that we have here. And we're going to trim this one again at 6 1/4. Are you sensing a theme here? Rotate, and this is a repeat also. Cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Now the reason we do these cuts is to turn a 12 by 12 into some photo mats. So this is right now 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So you can take a photo and just put it right on there without even cropping it. It's kind of cool. All right, so one of these goes in pocket 1 and 2, and the other one goes in 5 and 6. And we're going to do that same thing again. Now, if you don't want to scrap, just cut at 3 1/8. Otherwise, we'll cut at 6 and 3. And these both go in pocket 1 and 2. And we do have the tiny little scrap. Finally, we have this strip. We'll trim at 11 1/2. It's kind of different. 8 1/2. And 4 1/4. These 2 pieces go in pocket 5 and 6. And then we're going to trim this strip in half. Well, kind of in half. We're going to trim it at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. It's going to give us 2 pieces of the same size for pocket 3 and 4. And then we do have some scraps here. So there was just these guys. So the only scraps from the entire wedding collection when we made the pages, I have them all set aside here. So we'll just kind of take a look. This is how efficient we are at Club Scrap. That's all you have left of all of those papers, because we only just have a little bit of trimming left to do, and we'll use everything on these sheets except for that little piece around the perimeter. So what we're going to do is turn this 12 1/2 by 12 1/4 inch square into a 12-inch square, and then trim them into individual pieces. So if you look carefully at the corner here, you see those little crosshairs. I'm going to try to line up that crosshair with the edge of my trimmer blade, both at the top and bottom. And once I think I have that placed, so I can see right in the corner here is where I'm looking, and I'm looking down below where you can't really see. Give it a slice. And remember, you can always go back and like polish up a slice if it's not as accurate as you'd like. I'm going to rotate and repeat that same action to remove that extra strip. Now I'm watching here and down at the bottom again. And I can also look here on the left to see that I'm at 12 inches, and I am. And one more rotation and cut at 12. You can dispose of the narrow strips that you removed. And start always with that thinnest strip, the most narrow strip on the right. And also in the instructions, this is page 3 down at the bottom. You can see how I place this in the trimmer, and you can also see the measurements, but basically you can eyeball, and it will land typically on the nearest 1/4 inch. So if I trim at 10 3/4, as stated in the instructions, that puts my blade right in between these 2 strips to separate them. Then 9 1/2, 7 3/4, and 4. Rotate, and we're going to cut off this little guy. So we're going to trim at 11 1/2 and 5 3/4. Okay, this piece goes in pocket 3 and 4. And this one, Trust the Magic, 7 and 8. And then we have this little strip is actually used in 5 and 6. This one, make sure the small pieces on the right, we'll cut at 11, 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. Gather up those little pieces we just made. We'll file them all at once here. So this piece of Greenery, 7 and 8. A vertical journaling prompt, 3 and 4. This looks like a vertical journaling tag, 7 and 8. And then we have this oval, 3 and 4. And the skinny guy, 7 and 8. Now, a lot of people ask me, like, where in the pocket are you filing all this? It doesn't matter. Just anywhere, as long as it hits the pocket. We have a few more pieces to file here. I will never forget the moment I realized I love you. Oh. And the next one. Both of these go in pocket 3 and 4. That tan strip. Finally, You Put Your Arms Around Me and I'm Home. That's 7 and 8. Okay. Take a moment with this next ivory cut apart and do the same exact trick. Remove the little edges to create a perfect 12 by 12. Okay, here we go with trimming now at 10 1/4, and I just find the measurement and then I look over here. Is it correct? Yes, it's just going right through the 2 of those. Then 8 1/2, 8, 7 1/2, 6 3/4, and 3 1/2. I know that's a lot of cuts. Just bear with me. It's worth it. Okay, now we're going to rotate this piece. Trim at 10 1/2, 7, and 3 1/2. Let's file. So the first 2, the square with the greenery and the circle, and also this one, You Will Forever Be My Always. All of these go in pocket 1 and 2, and then the tag 5 and 6. Now the next strip, got skinny guy here on the right. We'll start at 11 1/2, I think. Yes, 11 1/2, 8 3/4, and 6. Okay, so this tag, 5 and 6. Journaling prompt, 1 and 2. Life is Better, 5 and 6. They're all over the place, aren't they? And then I Will Always Love You, 7 and 8. Okay, now I'm picking up all the strips. Done this before. All right, so we have the dotties. That's 5 and 6. We have 2 really narrow strips. Put one of them in 1 and 2, and the other in 5 and 6. This Is Us, 1 and 2. And Greenery, 5 and 6. Ta-da! That is all of the trimming necessary. All of it for 8 beautiful wedding pages, or whatever kind of love pages you want to make. I'm going to get rid of this trimmer. And notice I grabbed this, I held this before I moved the trimmer because this little flap is what's holding my pocket up. I always lay this on its back when the trimmer isn't handy. Now we'll do the dry fit process. that I've developed, which is probably the most efficient way to put this together. And I'm sure maybe 5 years from now, I might have a different way. Always trying to improve upon what we do here at Club Scrap. And I'm going to take the remaining entire pile of paper that I have. We sorted this together earlier. And I will take the whole pile and put it on the left of my center of my workspace, and then move one sheet to the right. So that should put 2 white papers in front of me as the base of the layouts we're going to work on. And that's going to be layout 7 and 8. And that might be weird. It's like, why are you starting at the back of this? Why are you starting at 7 and 8 when we want to start with 1 and 2? Well, the idea here is to work our way backwards so that what's on the top when we're done with all of this dry fit process, that is the placement temporarily of the elements that go there, well, layout number 1 will be at the top, and you can work your way back again. So I'm going to reach in to pocket 7 and 8. So if you have a pile, just grab pile 7 and 8. And typically, I try to just organize the pieces so that I'm holding them in the palm of my hand, and that way I can see a little bit better like what I've got, and I don't have to pick everything up off the table. Incredibly, it seems like things just get stuck on the table and you're like trying to get it off. So this is just a super easy way to see what you've got and sort through it a little bit more readily. So of the 2 pieces of greenery that we have, put the smaller one along the top edge. So I'm putting the edge of the greenery up at the top, aligned with the edge. And then the same thing here, the edge of the greenery is going to go down on the lower right side. So this has that really pretty teal color over in the right corner here. Hope you can see that okay. I think my lighting isn't as good on the right side because my light's coming from my left. Okay, then to differentiate this from the white base, I'm going to add this narrow craft strip on the right. Then on the left, I'm going to do this beautiful green, and then it should nest well with the page title right there. Easy peasy. Okay, moving on. Now we've got some sea green photo mats here. I'm going to take those and put 2 of them horizontally right here. And then on top of them, perhaps you have a piece of manila in there. I mean, see how this nests on there? Yes, it does nest perfectly. So manila goes on top there. And then there should be a craft photo mat. So that's going to go in this spot. And then if you'd like this tag, look at that fit. Below that, I'm going to add this dark green rectangle. And there should be another one that fits onto it in here. Let's see if we can find that. Oh, a craft. Look at that. Look at that, how that fits on there. Ooh, and then that fits right on that. Isn't that awesome? Maybe there are 2 smaller. These are good for little captions or tinier photos. Maybe you got the miniature bride coming your way. They go on those little spots. Now, on the right side here, we've got our 2 manila. This one's a little larger. This one's a little smaller. But when you line them up like this, they're going to be the same height. Look at that, as the sea green. Now here, we've got our tag. This will fit right in that spot. The I will always love you, that goes over in this spot. Everything from pocket 7 and 8 has now been placed. The only thing left to discuss here is how I use the embellishment. So I'm just going to skip ahead and show you the finished pages after everything's been adhered. You can see the use of some of the stickers. And here is some ribbon attached to these nested mats. Now you can put a picture here, leave it blank. The purpose of having these printed cut aparts on your layouts is if you have fewer pictures. If you have a lot of pictures, then just put them on top of everything. These are layout finishers for you in case you don't have enough. Now this gorgeous tag here, I pop dotted this with our foam adhesive circles and added a string of those self-adhesive pearl stickers. And check out how I use the ribbon to just loop through this tag. I cut the corners off to consistently match to make it look like a tag, and then I just taped the ribbon onto the back. So punch a hole and just wrap those ribbons around. Cool. Now on the other side, you can see everything stuck down. This is pop dotted, again, foam adhesive circles. Added a few finishing touches with the stickers. I could have added one here maybe. That would have been cute. You can add a photo there too. and then just made a fake loop. So this ribbon is just, I punched a hole, wrapped it around to the back, just one little piece of ribbon. Then separately tied a bow, stuck it onto the tag there. Okay, I'm going to set these finished layouts aside and do this stack and slide method here. So I'm taking just that white base paper and sliding it to the right, laying it on top of page 8, and then slide the next paper over and put that on top of page 7. Cleverly, we now have the base that we need for layouts 5 and 6, and you can see those in your instructions. Okay, so now I'm going to take everything out of pocket 5 and 6 and put all of that in the palm of my hand again so that I can see what I've got and I don't have to struggle with picking it up off my table. And looks like a great place to start is going to be with this print flush with the left edge of the side. And then we should have a nested strip. So start with craft, and then that polka dotted border strip gives us some nice separation here. Across the top, I'm going to place this for now and find my 2 smaller green rectangles. Again, it's just easier to sort through this if it's in the palm of your hand. Trust me. Okay, so if I just nestle those into the corner, I can bring this up. Then I'll take one of my, let's see, you have 3 different pieces of craft in here now. The largest one is going to go in this spot. And then there's going to be a little tag down here. And there's a dark green piece that's kind of skinny. It should fit perfectly into this tag. You can clip those corners off as well to make it look more like a tag. And that's going to go here. Cool. Now take that nested green piece with the gold print strip across, and then horizontally we'll add, I just hate covering this paper, it's so beautiful, the other 2 crafts. So we're creating some balance here with the craft, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the green by adding this photo mat, and that's what gauges the height of this. So this strip should be just below this vertical mat. Look, these nest together cleverly. Then you can cut this from the white, and then it'll fit right onto the scrap. Glad I saved that, right? Or I could probably even use this one and leave the white on. That's kind of cool. Whatever you want. And I can tuck that right behind here. Oh, I like that. More contrast. Let's review the finished page now with all the adhesive. Here I've added the strip of the pearls behind there. Just, it goes to only that far. Kind of clever there. Wrap the corners. It's a wonderful way to add that wide ribbon without creating a lot of bulk to the addition. And then embellishing for the left side, again, punched a hole after I clipped the corners of the tag, threaded it with that wide satin. It's just a simple fold, but wow, so eye-catching. Just tape that on the back. You can use washi tape or regular tape. And then same thing here, punch the hole, wrap it around to the back and secure, no lumps, and then added some pearls here, and then some of those eucalyptus stickers here. So that is pages 5 and 6, and we're clipping right along. I bet you've never made layout so fast if you've never done it with Club Scrap before. Again, I know I'm probably working too fast for you if you're new, but please hang in there with me, because after you do this a few times, you're going to be like, come on, Tricia, pick it up. I'm ready. I'm ahead. Pretty soon you won't need these videos at all. You'll just do it. Okay. Page 3, or layouts 3 and 4 here. You saw the stack and slide happen while I was babbling away. All right, let's see. I'm going to see if I can find in my palm of my hand, a lot of craft color in this one, the 3 prints. There's not much going on with them, so we'll happily cover those with photos. Those will go across the bottom just to get things started. And then there's a gold printed strip. This one will determine which craft. I think it's going to be this craft. It's going to anchor, right? And then this nests on top and fits perfectly. Should be an 1/8 inch reveal on each side. Vertically, I'll take one of these sea green. Then a craft should be the same height, and it will fit with this. Again, if you have a lot of pictures and you don't mind covering it up, go for it. Followed by 2 stacked rectangles. Fit nicely in there. Okay, on the left side, how about 2 manila? these are going to be horizontal and balance out with a base color of the right page. And on top of them, we can nest with this beautiful sea green. Love that. Okay, then a border strip that this time is vertical. So again, we're kind of creating some balance with the horizontal over there. And this will nest with the craft. And here we go. For finishing touches, not much had to happen to make this beauty to come together. So you see that just a simple bow made with the stunning metallic bronze ribbon here that matches the craft paper to perfection. And then just a row of pearls. Again, just minimal effort to create a wonderful effect there. Now on the other page, love this. Love it. The laser cut wood love piece has enough space to put that same ribbon threaded through, tack on the back, and then here I have a little effect with that little arrow piece and another scrap coming out after I did trim this into a oval and then added some of those stickers. You can almost barely tell that those are stickers on there. And that is layout 3. Wow, we're almost done already. Now time to stack and slide. So take this piece, slide it over and stack it onto this one. And then finally we should have 2 ivory. And I'll pull everything out of pocket 1 and 2, place it in the palm of my hand. Okay, let's get rid of those large pieces first. We're gonna position this script vertically on the left edge. And this other really wide or large green, we're gonna place this in this bottom corner of the right side. Then, how about the 2 vertical green photos here, green photo mats. Underneath that, we'll put the This Is Us. Sweet. There should be a piece that's going to end up being a circle. And so the adventure begins. Once that's trimmed, it's going to fit there perfectly. And you can add the Mr. and Mrs. Wood tile in that spot. Love that. Down below here, I think with the manila, we'll be able to fit this journaling prompt nested. So it just makes it pop just a little bit. Now on the right, we should puzzle in 1 craft larger mat, and then we should be able to stack these 2 horizontal ones next to it. Now let's say you have just all vertical pictures. You can just spread 1 picture over those 2 horizontal mats. But I like the balance that this creates. Now across the top here, we should be able to fit perfectly 3 dark green squares. And that's that magical number of 3 3/4. Boom, boom, boom. They fit in a row like film strip style with just perfect spacing in between. Then we can add this here, this here. Again, if you have more photos, put them all over. Oh, I forgot to slide this large piece in on the right edge here. Nice. You get the idea. And then a nested strip to separate these 2 areas. For finishing touches, once everything's adhered, just a little touch here, some pearls in the corners. This was wrapped with the jute that we've included. There's lots of ribbon in this collection. Here, just this really sweet knot tied into the ribbon and the ends wrapped around to the back. A sticker added in that spot. On the left, you can see how cute this turned out. This is just cut with scissors. Mr. and Mrs. added with our bookbinding glue, nice and easy there. And then we have the jute wrapped around a whole bunch of times and tied in a bow. This is pop dotted with a little swatch of ribbon peeking out from the back. And then a final touch of stickers. I used every single sticker on this sheet on the layouts. So nothing really went to waste. We really used almost everything. I believe I had some ribbon left over just because there were plentiful yards of 4 different varieties. Normally we do 3. I just couldn't narrow it down. I loved them all. They all had to be in there. All right, my friends, this is all 8 layouts of the beautiful Ever After collection. And I know that you can adapt this to anything. It doesn't have to be wedding. It could be obviously a shower or an engagement or an anniversary or just anything outdoors. You can certainly use the plain sides or adapt with the cut aparts that are specific to love as well. But I just think even this one, This Is Us, Our Story, Our Life, Our Home, that doesn't have to be wedding. So try not to put yourself in a box with this gorgeous collection. If you like it, you'll find a home for it. No problem, I'm sure. Now don't forget, we have an Ever After card kit as well. Now it's basically the same as the page kit, the same items, the same prints, the same planes, the same goodies. What's different about it is that there are 3 printed cut-aparts that you trim, just like we did the page kit cut-aparts in this collection, 3 sheets, and this card kit rather makes 18 cards, and we even included the envelopes. If you haven't picked up the card kit, grab that as well and make the beautiful 18 cards so you're ready to go at the drop of a hat when you're walking out the door to the wedding. You've got the card covered. I'll see you at this tutorial. Thanks for joining me.